Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Phoenix Rising era.
Settle down onto your favourite city as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the town. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking symbolism, Easter eggs, and deep diving into the sadness of Polin's wedding night, or lack thereof. Connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
You threw me off. Didn't we finish episode 7?
Yeah, but we start the morning.
It starts at,
morning night.
Yeah. Dearest listeners, we have spent a fortnight without Tash the Kiwi, and I am so glad she's back with us. We are in the home stretch, dear Tangent Squad. Episode 8, Into the Light, and Colin and Pen's happy ending, finally. We have only a minor amount of angst to go, the passage of time filled with leather and heavy breathing in Benedict's exploration era, but over the next few pods, we will be finally able to see Mr. and Mrs. Colin Bridgerton come into their own at last. But first, we see Cressida resort to blackmail and Portia learn of Whistledown. Out of these ashes, Penelope's divine self rises, choosing her own intuition over her mother's scheming. Penelope is a child, no more.
She is a fully grown woman who didn't get a wedding night. I'm still bitter.
Very bitter. I'm bitter as well.
Well, you shouldn't be bitter because I just saw what just passed by the screen and you should be sweet as pie. Sweet as pistachio pie.
I'm medicating with chocolate and pistachio cream.
Let's talk a pod snacks.
Yes, pod snacks today. Before you signed on, I went to lunch with Teresa today, and we went to Vicious Biscuit, which is a chain. It just opened here in Medina, though. And I didn't quite finish my meal, so I just finished off my fried green tomatoes that I had from there. And I have some petite medley little grape cherry tomatoes with some salt on them. I just found a bunch in my fridge. I grocery shopped and took my son to a pantry last week, and I'm still finding all the things that he decided not to take home that I have to figure out how to incorporate into my daily eating so they don't go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I have my bag of my Happy Find, the Lindor pistachio truffle balls. I'm so excited. They are so good. I did look up the bars, like the squares. At least on Instacart, because I use Instacart and DoorDash mostly for grocery delivery. I searched both of them, and none of the stores on there had them. So it could be they're in the store, as I recently found out with Jenny's popcorn. It's not in DoorDash, but it's at the store. I just have to go and search around the store to see if I find it.
See, if I type in like an exact thing into Google and then click shopping, it'll show me all the supermarkets that sell that item.
All right, then I'll do that first before I go walking around with this leg of mine. I just checked because I always order DoorDash and Instacart. I just checked those today.
Okay. Well, I'll start out with today's tea, seeing as it is piping hot.
Why? Yeah, why Tosh has not really been having pod snacks lately. Are we starting there?
Tasha's pod snack is electrolyte water, sponsored by my baby that has given me hyperemesis.
Tash the Kiwi is baking a new kiwi.
She is definitely baking herself an egg. And as much as this is very exciting news, it has also been hands down the toughest 10 weeks of my entire life. For those who don't know what hyperemesis gravidarium, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't have brain cells left. It is a very, very extreme form of morning sickness where it's vomiting up to 20 times a day. It is the inability to get out of bed anymore. It is napping 4 hours a day because it is the only time that I'm less miserable. And then still sleeping 12 hours overnight.
Mm-hmm. IV fluids, hospitalization.
Yeah. So I've been in and out of hospital and the doctor's offices and emergency rooms for weeks now because my kidneys don't super like not being able to keep fluids down. And they don't really like when you stop passing urine. My doctors have been taking really good care of me, but it has been extremely trying. And it is like Bridgerton and doing this podcast is like the light in my life, like especially going through something so hard, but to motivate myself to get up and try to pretend to be happy when I didn't want to really say what was going on until, I got all my results back this week or last week stating that baby was all healthy and well. But it has been very hard because I don't want people to be like, oh, Tasha's just not interested in the pod right now. I am very much
I
interested.
just
I'm just not
I just
interested
was
in
like,
life.
yeah, I was just so like, people are just going to think that you find me boring. It's okay because you would always be yawning.
To get through the last 8-9 weeks of potting has been difficult to say the least. There's been times where I've had to run for the bathroom mid podcast and then edit it all out, and if there's been any burping that I haven't edited out or unusual sounds, I apologize deeply. They are
And she's been
the
on
bane of
several anti-nausea meds. That's where the drowsiness comes from. She does
yep.
not find me
Ugh.
boring. We have continued to chat, visiting on the phone, even though we couldn't podcast together. I've done my best to attempt to cheer her and keep her spirits up as best I can from across the world, as well as
I've been
Kay.
lying there half asleep responding. Yes,
So that's
all of my
technically our first Bridgerton news, because Tasha's not been able to have pod snacks for weeks now.
yes,
Just
snacks
ices and
are
waters.
yeah. Snacks are a thing of the past. Anything that doesn't make me vomit right now is a win.
But we're crossing our fingers that it is a new tangent queen that we are getting, because that would be exciting. I'm manifesting you guys a girl. Yeah, tangent queen.
Ezra
well, I mean, he could be a tangent queen.
Ezra is absolutely a tangent queen.
I think he's a little king. I don't think he'll grow up to be a queen in that sense.
Can rule and
I mean, he can, but he gives me that vibe. I just have that vibe. I'm pretty good at that vibe. I called my brother, got in trouble over and over as a child. Like, I used to joke in my adulthood after he came out that I wanted reparations from my mother for how much I was grounded for calling him names. Like, I was not calling him names. I was trying to inform you what was coming in the future.
You're like, Mum, it's not defamation if it's facts.
Right? It's not libel. It's the truth.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Bridgerton
what is the rest of the tea?
Okay, so hot off the presses. Now, you guys aren't going to get this till the weekend, but as of recording today's Wednesday, the Emmy nominations came out today. Remember, a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, we talked about the submissions, and now we have the actual nominations. And Bridgerton got 4. They got Outstanding Character Voiceover, Julie Andrews, Outstanding Choreo. And what's interesting here is normally they submit, they only got 1 nomination in choreo, but it's for multiple different choreographed scenes, not just one episode or one specific scene. Like, it was the choreography in the masquerade, the recital, something pink, the pink ball at Cressida's ball, things like that. So multiple examples, but outstanding choreo, outstanding costumes in a period or fantasy show, and outstanding hair in a period or fantasy show. So, and then if you haven't been on Instagram, which I'm not, thankfully somebody shared it to one of the Bridgerton fan groups on Facebook, Jack Murphy was adorably cute about their nomination and how excited he was for his team. And he's like, oh, this is only our 4th nomination.
Only.
Like, he was so cute watching him today. And then we also got the Gold Derby Award, TV Awards nominations. I don't know where those are out of, but there were 9 nominations for that. We had Outstanding Drama Series, Actress for Yerin Ha, Actor for Luke Thompson, Guest Actress in Simone Ashley, Guest Actor in Johnny Bailey, Supporting Actress to Nicola Coughlan and Claudia Jessie. And from what I've seen, Gold Derby people, someone somewhere out there made a comment of how Nicola was not submitted for Emmys, apparently, much like we did. And now there's a new category, and Bridgerton was nominated, and that is Best Literary Adaptation. And
that one's a hard one because, like, they're coming out with so many literary
And
adaptations at the moment.
I think that's why they chose to add it, because there are so many literary adaptations out there right now. Breakthrough Performer of the Year, Year and Ha, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then Ensemble of the Year. And then I just want to give a quick happy birthday to Luke Thompson, whose birthday was on July 4th, and Martins Imhangbe, whose birthday was July 7th. Both of them Cancer babies. And then we just got the announcement that Bridgerton is halfway filmed for season 5. They have completed 2 blocks. They are about to start their 3rd block. And a block is filming 2 episodes. So they're moving right along. They've filmed 4 episodes so far. But Loseley House, which is the stand-in for My Cottage, will be closed from 7/9 to 7/29 to the public. So they're recording My Cottage scenes in block 3. And then the last one I'm going to say for this one, because we're going to save some Bridgerton news for later so that we're pressed for time because Tosh needs a nap every day. She's baking a baby, y'all. If you love seeing a man in a wet white shirt, as we all do, Google Ollie Higginson. Google Ollie Higginson in Valus, VALUS magazine. He is in the summer issue, and that photo spread is hot, hot, hot. It's very nice.
Love that Ollie is coming up in the world because he's such a sweetie. And he gives everyone else their props, so it's nice to see him being recognized a bit in the world of the world that worlds.
His world, their world, our world. But
the industry
Ollie
is what I was looking for.
You're a bit too young for me to be admiring you in a wet white shirt, but I'm sure other women out there will.
I think he's what, 20?
It was very artistically done.
He'd be what, 25 to 27? I actually don't know.
I'm not sure, but it was very thirst trappy.
Ollie.
We'll just say Hazel, if you and Hazel get together, Footman John.
Okay, he's my age.
She's going to be...
He's 32.
Oh, he's 32? Okay, I don't feel as bad now. I thought for sure he was in his 20s.
Which is
like, he's half my age.
I was saying to Stephen yesterday, I was like talking about Tom Holland, and I'm like, that kid is always going to be Spider-Man. And he's like, kid? And I'm like, okay, yeah, he might be only 5 years younger than me, but like, he just looks so youthful that he
looks like a baby. Yeah, he looks like a baby.
In the sweetest way. We'll respect Tom. We love you.
Yeah. I know you're a married man now, I guess, but you're still very young for me. And I guess we'll say this too for you, since it's, we haven't. Congratulations to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
And Travis, I have been like, in the least disrespectful way possible, because like, obviously if she wants her privacy and she doesn't want to share anything, absolutely good for her. Like, everything in her world is shared, so if she doesn't want to share anything, good for her. But
she's sharing it, but she's sharing it in a way that makes money, because people have been posting that there were signs up that it was going to be filmed, and you entering the venue is you agreeing to be on film, that it's going to be commercially used, I guess.
I mean, there's so many rumors out there that I like, until I see it with my own eyes, I take everything with a grain of salt. But I have been living for like all the outfits of all the celebrities that have been turning up. Like, it just looked like an absolute stunning wedding, and I'm so happy, because as someone who has followed her for coming on 20 years now, it's been a long time.
I love the fact that Adam Sandler was the officiant, and he gave them the best advice. He said, always be kissing your wife. If you guys are kissing, you can't be fighting. I'm like, I think Colin takes that to heart too.
My favorite is, and I don't know whether this is true, but someone, like a person from the wedding, apparently said like everyone expected Taylor to be the one bawling her eyes out, but it was Travis. And they were like, of course he was. He got the girl of his dreams. Like, I'd be crying too. And it gave me such Colin vibes.
We've all heard Taylor's song, do it with a broken heart. Okay, this girl can turn off the tears when need be.
Yeah,
she is a consummate professional. I had no belief system ever that she was going to cry during her wedding. None. Not that she lacks emotion.
No, I absolutely believe that she cried. I just believe that he cried more.
Yeah, I think she provided enough, but the way, like, it was for 1,000 people that were there. And I know that I don't know they picked this day specifically because of this, but people leave New York for the 4th of July. They go out to the Hamptons. They go out to other places. So because it was at Madison, I think they chose this day because they knew it would disrupt the least amount of people. Like, it's a holiday, people are off of work, not, and I would like to say that them going to Madison Square Garden did not completely close down Grand Central Station like it did for some other people a few weeks ago. Not naming names. But I just think that she would have been conscious of the longer we take, the more these streets are going to be blocked and stuff. So I really do think she's...
Not only that, but her and Travis also donated to like every homeless shelter, food pantry, several $1 million they donated to people in the area. So like if they were, I think her thing is if I'm gonna disrupt people, like offset the bad with good sort of thing, good karma.
Yeah, but she didn't. They completely planned the streets that were going to be closed still allowed an entrance to Grand Central Station to be open. Whereas a few weeks ago for the NBA Finals, our president went to a game and that closed streets down, up way more streets down, and Grand Central was completely closed down. And all the fans had to arrive 2 hours early or they wouldn't get in. And then all the fans who didn't have tickets, who would normally be watching outside so they could celebrate with their team, weren't able to do that because the streets had to be empty. It disrupted way more people. Taylor was a little more conscientious of that.
Cute. Now I do believe it is time to make haste into today's episode because we are finally starting on episode 8 and it came in so strong. I can't believe we get like 10 seconds of sad, sulky Colin and straight into, I know you'll whistle down.
But I don't think it's sad, sulky Colin. Like the first thing I say in my notes is, we begin on Colin, who is fully dressed with tea in hand.
I wish we began on Colin. That's the problem here.
Or not in the sitting room off of the bedroom. Anyway.
I think you missed that pun.
I know, it's physical. He's staring off into space from the settee that, in their new sitting room outside of their bedroom. But if we want to remember, like, 2 scenes, same vibe, he looks exactly the same. The look on his face, staring off into space, actually staring off into space off to the right, sitting rigid, is all the same as when he was visiting Pen after she fainted at the engagement party. So he's not angry. He's worried.
He's contemplative.
He's trying to figure... And that's the thing. Like, when she did faint, he was worried for her, had to see that she was okay. And I think that's part of it. I think he knew... He woke up realizing he made a mistake, and he was worried that a lot of things. He was worried Penelope would be mad at him. He was worried that, is the queen just going to show up at our house to take her away? You know what I mean? Because she said, hold your tongue another night. He doesn't know if she knows or not. She wants somebody to confess. So I think he's sitting there. He's not drinking his tea. He's just holding the cup. I think he's sitting there like he's protecting her. Like, I'm here. I'm between her and whoever comes in that door. You know what I mean? Like, the queen could show up at any minute. Anyone in the ton. Anthony. And I just think he's super worried. He gives me that same vibe. Sitting in her drawing room, waiting for her to come downstairs until he can physically see she's okay.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. And I actually had never considered the fact that he's in that protective role, like, you've got to go through me first kind of a vibe. But I think he is also very contemplative of not like, do I divorce her? Do I annul the marriage? Like,
no,
it was
not
never
at all.
any of that. It is, how do I get my wife out of the situation, keep my family safe? How do I protect everyone I love? And he's also now realizing that his priorities are now changing. It is now Penelope first, family second. And that's a huge shift for people to go through, a huge mindset shift.
He probably was thinking, like, I might have to duel my own brother. We joked about it before, but I might really have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Anthony would ever come to that point. If it was a Kappa, sure.
I don't think Kate would let Anthony get to that point.
Kate would duel Anthony first. Like, you got to go through me first to get to them.
Yeah. And I definitely think Kate would stand in between him and Penelope. Like, although I think with it being Penelope, I do think Anthony has a soft spot for her. I think he would want answers. He would probably treat her like he does Colin, which we kind of see from Violet in season 4, right? Violet treats Penelope like she does Colin, as one of her other children, full naming her and everything. But I think Anthony would be the same, like making her come sit in his
The
study.
funny thing is, I think that Anthony has a softer spot for Penelope than he does for
Then Colin.
Eloise, and I know for Eloise, and
True.
I think that
True.
maybe the reason is because he knows that Eloise is so difficult, and he's like, "Thank you for keeping my sister occupied for all these years, so I don't have to deal with her."
True. And I don't know who said this out in the world, but I did see a post in one of the Facebook groups where somebody contemplated that Anthony and Eloise have not shared
Yes, I
dialogue
saw that.
with each other. And I'm like, really? I mean, I'm unemployed right now. I am looking for work and all that, but I do have a lot more time on my hands. So I've been considering a rewatch. I just haven't done it yet. And I might have to rewatch just to see if I see them interact at all. Because I'm like, I really can't think of one time.
All of my For You stuff with Bridgerton has like disappeared off, like, the video For You kind of stuff. All the
Yeah.
Bridgerton stuff has disappeared from me now, and now it's all Grey's Anatomy, which is still Shondaland, but yeah.
Yep. So next we see a completely I want to talk about this because I think this is important. We see a completely adorned sitting room. It's clean. It's decorated with coral and statues and other bric-a-brac, obviously from Colin's travels, maybe some from his mother's collections. It's completely painted blue and green and gold. The settee we're supposed to think it's the same settee, but it's not. The other one was open-ended. This one has two arms on it. It matches the other one, but it's not the same one. His desk is in the corner.
This traveling settee.
Well, and I think it's like, well, we can't use the one we broke, so we'll put this other one in here.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we know that Ray was missing. We brought it up before. Ever since the engagement, we hadn't seen Ray. And Ray ends up popping her head in here in a few minutes. But Colin decorated this house. When he brought Pen, there was dust cloths, there was dust, there was trunks everywhere, boxes everywhere, furniture not anywhere, just haphazard. He spent time with Ray.
Of the two of their lives and interests.
Yeah, he spent time completely making that home. Like I said, when we were in the mirror scene and he brought her to an unfinished home, I knew like he was going to bring her home married to a finished home. I mean, he was having people bring shit that day. Like that's how they got interrupted, right? That's the servants bringing my stuff. Like he's been living in this place aside from, writing and stuff at Bridgerton house, but he's been living back and forth, preparing this home for her, made it perfect for her, and it does mirror both of their tastes. Like, she doesn't have to come in and make any changes. He's finally presented her something finished, and the only thing I think they need to work out is themselves. Like, and I think that plays into his melancholy, too. Like, I didn't even get to show her the house because we're fighting, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, I finally finished something feels complete, and now I don't get to share like all the hard work I put in because he's so sick of presenting Penelope with half-finished business.
Yeah, unfinished business. Like, and it's beautiful. The place is beautiful, and he really took his time with it. And I just think I think it's important to note that there are signs, even if a person doesn't say, "Hey, I know we're going through something right now, but we're gonna be good. I love you. I still love you." Even though Colin is not saying that, the viewer, I'm saying viewers, look at the context. Look at the stuff in the room. Look at those context clues, and you'll understand, I think all of us were taken aback with how angsty this season was, and we all were calling it angsty Colin through the whole second half. But honestly, the more I watched it and saw these things, the more I realized he's worried. He was angry at first, but he really didn't stay that angry that long. He just was trying to figure out how to get them out of this mess and protect her. And coming to grips with him being jealous of his wife.
I think he's also trying to shelter his wife from his feelings, and he doesn't want her to see just how worried he is because he doesn't want her to feel worried. He's like, that's my burden to carry. And back then, husbands and wives did not share burdens like the Mondrick family. that was just unheard of. And we have to keep in mind also that he doesn't have very many memories of his parents, and his parents probably sheltered him from most of it. So he would not have seen them dealing with any sort of strife from an adult's perspective, because his dad passed away so young. And those are kind of the building blocks of how you watch and how you figure out how to manage situations, is by scaffolding that learned behavior from those around you. And I think that's a big reason why he says, I'm off to Bridgerton House for breakfast, because he is now learning from Kate and Anthony. Hey, if my brother is the most difficult man in the world and my sister-in-law is the most headstrong person in the world, and they find a way to work together to be a partnership, I can learn from them.
I agree that he was trying to protect Penelope from his darker shadow self, like his negative feelings and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But him rushing off to Bridgerton House, I think, was to protect himself, because he wanted to dive over that settee. Because when Penelope walks out of the bedroom, we know at that point, when she opens the door, we know that's what he was waiting for, because his head, he immediately turns. He had been listening for movement from her. But when she finally walks out, she is in the nightie of his dreams that is very similar to Dream Penelope. And when he stands up and turns around, he stiffens. He immediately is very rigid, talking to her, very formal. Yes, very formal. But the camera pans to her when she says something, and you're seeing her playing with the ribbon, so you know it's a nightie and a robe situation. When it pans back to him, his eyes are down and his eyes come up her body back to her face, and you're like, he is just like this is what my reenactment of what Colin is thinking while his mouth is saying other things is like, of course she is wearing that. Like, this is torture. Like, I'm trying to think plans. I'm trying to figure things out as she comes walking out looking like the goddess in my dreams. I've got to get out of here. I've got to go.
As with the memes from all the Bridgerton universe, the Bridgerton men sharing one singular brain cell, we know exactly what that brain cell is possessed by right now.
If we're talking he only had one brain cell, it would be going, boobies.
Mum asking if she needs to pick up my groceries. I didn't order them, because that's too organized for me right now. And I have to open my fridge to figure out what I need to order.
Mama and Papa Kiwi and husband Kiwi and visiting student and Ezra have all been taking really good care of Tash.
My parents moved in for about 3 weeks when I was going through the worst of it, because obviously my son needed and my student needed school drop off and pick up every day, and just the 10 minutes of walking in and out of the school to drop off my son was just too far. I was getting too dizzy, and it like every single smell, the car exhausts, a coffee shop roasting beans, the people wearing perfumes at school. It was like a struggle to get through it without vomiting.
Yeah, Tasha's been living in her new home since August, yet she became very familiar with the bushes in the last few weeks. Last several weeks.
Well fertilized.
We digress. So I want to bring up, I really like the staging of this scene, because we get to see that Colin is not angry. He is really trying to he doesn't want to take Penelope when they are not resolved. He keeps the settee in between them. When she says, "How did you sleep?" and he said, "Fitfully," we see on the settee there is a pillow and a blanket, and it is the teal blanket with the gold fringe that they made love under the first time that they were together. And we realize like he chose to cover himself in a blanket that would remind him of them, remind him of their lovemaking, remind him of them finally, him finding his purpose, getting to marry, bringing her to the house. So he was very sentimental. We see how sentimental he is. And the fact that he is keeping the settee, the table, like he's on one side, she's on the other, it represents the divide that's between them, but also that the divide is purposeful. He's creating it until he can save the day, because he doesn't feel like he's earned her yet. Now that he knows she's Whistledown and she's successful and she's rich, Like, granted, he still has access to more money than she does, but that's not his money.
Yeah, it's something that she's earned for herself, something that's
Yeah,
incredibly
his
a
money is
source of opera.
Bridgerton money. Her money is her money.
Penelope money. Yeah.
So he doesn't feel like he has earned her yet. And as many people pleasers know, like when you don't feel like you've earned the love of that person, you end up sabotaging things yourself because receiving that love doesn't feel right. And I think that's Colin here. He's like, I just can't until he doesn't feel like they're on equal footing. And he's decided that saving her from the queen is what's going to do it. He needs to save the day, which we find that out later. But he ultimately says, like, he's going to let her spend some time with her mother and give them some privacy, which I find funny. Like,
I
how does
found it
he already know that her mother's coming over?
well, because
Is
she
that
says,
like a
but my, I don't think it was just an excuse, but she says, but my mother is coming. And I think that that was like her plea to say, like, I don't want to not show weakness in front of my mum, but like, she
she
didn't
wanted
want
to
to
be a
face her mum
united front?
alone,
Yeah.
especially after, like, with her mum being a narcissist and the wedding of her mum's dreams going up in flames because of the queen. She didn't want to face all the scrutiny of how dare she, what did she want, like
Yeah.
all the questions of what did she call you in there for. She knew all the questions were coming and she didn't want to face her mum alone. And it's actually a little bit surprising that Colin does leave her alone, but at the same time I also think he has enough faith in
Portia's
Portia that he's
stupidity.
like, no, he has enough faith in Portia that he's like, she will never, like, for as many faults as she has, even if she finds out, she will never sell out her own daughter. But he should also know that Portia is a schemer, and
He does.
schemers need watching.
Well, and I think what Colin is doing here, not I don't think when he leaves he thinks he's leaving and abandoning her to her mother. I think he assumes her mother is assuming it's a Bridgerton, which her mother's always assumed it since season 1. Not that he knows that, but I think he figures Penelope is safe because all Portia's going to ask for is the tea of what happened in the room. Do you know what I mean? Like, not, oh my gosh, it's got to be you, not coming down on her in any way. And he doesn't want to be there. He knows he can't be in that room for 5 more minutes without taking her to the bedroom. He's got to get out of Dodge. And he's not thinking of Portia at all in this moment. Like, you're safer with Portia than you are with me, I think is what he's saying. Like, I don't want to do that to you. That's unfair to you. I'm not worthy of you. And I got to go until I get this figured out because I need a clear head. And the reason I think that way is because I'm equating this scene to the book where she tells him originally that Cressida blackmailed her. And he says he's going to figure it out, but he has to leave and go to Bridgerton House. And she's like, but why? Why can't you stay here and we'll do it together? And he's like, if I stay here, I won't be thinking. Right?
There was a small part that's like, you know what? I can't deal with your mum. Like, that's just too much today.
I mean, there's probably 3 real reasons Colin left. 3 real ones. But yeah, I just think that because I equate it to the moment, because they gave us moments, they didn't give us actual scenes. I see this as mirroring that scene in the book where he's like, if I stay here, I am not going to think of a plan. We're going to be doing something else. So I have to go.
I can just imagine, like, every time that he's cheeky or insinuating in their marriage, that, like, not chiding, but kind of cheekily chiding, like, Colin, every time.
Well, at the ice cream shop, she just swiped his hand. She was like,
Yes, which I do love that was acceptable even back I don't know if it would have actually been acceptable back then because, I mean, like, there's still many cultures even today where if you did that to your husband, it would be seen as disrespectful.
Yeah, but probably not in front of Francesca, who can't read a room, and John, who is Colin's friend, who already knows he's mischievous.
Is that what you're supposed to do with your partner? Okay, we'll start doing it to each other.
Right. Francesca's probably like, please tell me why you did that so I understand so that when I do it, I know why I'm doing it.
And that is how Francesca learns that she's into BDS. I mean,
that's
the Queen
only,
wanted
that's
it to
only
be more
gonna
interesting.
That's only going to be 2 episodes of season 5.
It's always the quiet ones you got to watch out for. Can we talk about
So
the massive faux pas on the help's hand in this whole mess of a situation?
yeah, well, and we're gonna give Ray the benefit of the doubt. She just recently got this promotion, and I just want to say it is not normal, no matter what fiction tells you, it is not normal for a lady's maid to become an out and out housekeeper. That is not a ladder of
Well,
succession.
I'm trying to think. And I actually think that in Georgiana and Nicholas's book, it was the housekeeper's daughter who then, I mean, it's been a long time since I read theirs, but I'm pretty sure it was the housekeeper's daughter that became their main.
Lady's maid?
Yeah.
Be or housekeeper. Like they're two different things because the housekeeper is like the boss, the butler or the valet, if it's a titled gentleman, would lead the men, the footmen and whatever, and then the housekeeper leads all the maids. Ladies' maids are the next hierarchy, then your scullery maids, kitchen maids, whatever.
I would have to reread it again, but I do think that they actually took staff that were, because
They
obviously
would take
Georgiana and
staff that
Nicholas
are
were quite
in
young.
relation. There's a lot of times that if you have a really good maid and you would say, hey, do you have a sister, do you have a cousin, like that's how a lot of people came into service, because they knew someone in service and that person got them a job, much like Hazel getting a job at Bridgerton House because of that situation and because she was friends with Sophie. He knew her and Sophie were friends because Sophie tried to protect her and he didn't want to leave both of them there. So it is similar to that, but it is unusual for a lady's maid when a lady gets married and goes to her new home. Her lady's maid goes with her and continues to be her lady's maid. There normally is already a housekeeper, but Ray got to be housekeeper, and I think this is what Colin bribed Ray. This was the bribe. If you let me see Penelope tonight, you will be a housekeeper in our home someday.
We might end our friendship here, because as much as Ray is a ride or die, I think that she's not suitable for a role as a lady's maid just yet. As a housekeeper.
No, I don't either. And I think that they play it off well without making it obvious, because they even play it off in season 4,
In season
where
4,
she's still learning. So
yeah.
I love
She fumbles
that.
hard.
I love that they have her fumble, because she's a great lady's maid. Yeah. She's a great ride or die lady's maid, but she's in a new position and she's going to make mistakes. And I love that the mistakes are being made. And by mistake, we're talking about she doesn't tell her who is the visitor is.
Well, not just that. She let Lady Whistle, I'm going to call her a lady because she's Lady Whistledown anyway. Her lady walk into a room in her sleepwear with nobility.
But Cressida is not nobility.
Well,
she's not noble. Nobility. She's peerage. She's part of the peerage. She's not.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if it was family.
She was not dressed. The thing is because Penelope thought it was her mother, she didn't feel like she needed to get dressed. And since Penelope seemed to know who it was, Ray thought that she was invited.
Well, you could tell the way that Ray kind of was like, well,
like she didn't know. But the faux pas is that Ray didn't say a Miss Cressida Cowper to see you. Yeah. Right.
You're always
because then because then Penelope would be like, because I mean, we know from Bridgerton House, like even when John barrels in because he was trying to find Francesca, you know, they're like a Mr. John Sterling or
and when Colin barrels into Featherington House and like you still have Varley like chasing after like, I tried to stop him.
Right. So I think that had she said a Miss Cressida Cowper to see you, you know, then we would have had a very different scene and Penelope would have gotten dressed. But because she didn't state who the visitor was and Penelope was expecting a visitor in her mother, she just went down in what she was wearing.
But
which put her, and I think that was purposeful for the scene. I think that was purposeful for the scene, so she was
Queen or Lady Danbury. Like, could you? She's like,
now I don't think
rather presumptuous of you to try bed me.
I don't think Ray would have. I don't think Ray would have not said if it was the Queen, right?
Yeah,
because nobody expects the Queen to come to your private residence, so she would have been like, Queen Charlotte for you.
I actually half expected it to be Lady Danbury being like, I know it is you.
Right.
and we need to do something about the situation because she is catching on too fast. Like, I'm doing the best from my side, but you need
Well,
to pull
I
your
knew,
weight.
considering we were at episode 8, that it was Cressida because that whole blackmail thing had to
Yeah,
happen at some
the
point.
night before. Yeah.
But I really, as much as I don't think Cressida is as clever as Penelope or Eloise, I really
She's
do
not
think
stupid.
the writers did her dirty, that she couldn't have figured it out based on the way the writing was in Whistledown, much like the Queen did. I think
Yes.
if there was a phrase like in the book, Penelope says a phrase and then that phrase shows up in Whistledown, and that's how Cressida figures it out.
So actually, with modern TV, this is just maybe have a huge realization. Cressida is Regency Elle Woods. For those who don't know, there is a new TV series out following from Legally Blonde, Elle Woods, but her as a teenager. Have not watched it yet. Do intend on watching it. It looks phenomenal. And it was really
It
funny
looks good.
because, I mean, this is a tangent, but it is Bridgerton related. I saw comments saying, like, I've never ever seen an actor embody their character mannerisms, the way they talk, walk, hold their head exactly as closely as young Elle. And obviously, I'm not sure of the
Reese
actor's name.
Witherspoon,
No, I meant the other one.
the new
Like,
one. I
obviously,
don't remember her name.
no. But she's probably going to be a massive up and comer in the world now because she's done such a phenomenal job. But I disagree with that because I think that in Queen Charlotte, India did an absolutely phenomenal job
Mhm.
of embodying Queen Charlotte to a T. Like,
That
obviously,
was
their personalities
incredible
were
casting.
different,
Yeah.
but that was because she'd gone through so much trauma and loss and heartbreak with her husband throughout her life. But you could still see the complete embodiment. Like, I would 100% believe, yes, that is the older version of her.
Yeah. But I don't, I think they did Cressida dirty here by having her find out because an apprentice said she was a redhead. Do you know what I mean?
I wish
Like,
she made it a little bit more intelligent. Like, as I was saying with the Elle Woods connection, is Elle is ditzy, but she is not dumb. And I feel like that's very much the same case with Cressida. But Cressida was very much an Elle Woods. Well, I mean, obviously mean. Elle Woods is sweet as pie. But
she
I
was
feel like
Regina George.
they have dumbed down Cressida to be just kind of almost
Mhm.
comical, the same way that they changed the ugly stepsisters into being comedy yet again. You know, they are the comedy relief of the season. Cressida is too. She's mean, but it's always a little bit comical, or it's lighthearted, or it gets brushed off as just a mean girl being mean, and she'll grow up into being, you know, from a ugly duckling to a swan, and it's fine. You know, it's all part of the journey. But I really wish they'd kept the Cressida from the book. But in saying that, obviously, I'm
Mhm.
very glad that they had her growth in season 4 that didn't follow the book at all
Yes.
because
We no longer
season
have
4,
Cressida after romancing Mr. Bridgerton,
yes,
really. Yeah.
yes, married Cressida was even more of a wench than unmarried Cressida.
Well, and speaking to the entering the drawing room still in her night clothes, Penn tells Ray when she says a visitor for you, she
Mhm.
says, serve her tea. I'm not yet ready. But
Yes,
then when we see her walking into the drawing room, she's still in her night clothes. So what was she
I'm like,
preparing of herself? Just her
her
steeling
hair?
herself to deal with her mother? Her hair's the same. It's
Yeah,
still down. I
yeah.
think she was mentally preparing herself to deal with her mother and what she thought her mother was going to say. You know, her and her mother were getting along better, but they weren't quite getting along. And now that Colin has left already, that was going to raise questions with Portia. So I think she was preparing herself mentally and just didn't think about, I need to change my clothes. But yeah, I don't think she'll ever do that again, though.
I don't know why, but like, what is the word? You know words better than me. What is the word we use all the time where we just break out in song whenever words remind us? Not echolalia, but there is another one.
There's another word, but it's like echolalia, where you have to
Yeah,
repeat something just because it sounds the same. Because that's what leads you into the song lyric. Is the
yeah.
phrase is the same as the song lyric? Yeah. And I
But
just want
there's,
to point out, as she's walking into the drawing room, the hallway's yellow.
yeah.
So Colin really did plan, like, these are our colors. He had to have yellow. Colin loves yellow. Colin loves pen. Colin loves pen and yellow. Like, traveling from room to room, he gets to see yellow. And then their rooms are done in blue and green, which are their house colors.
But I just laugh when she comes in. Good morning. Mama. And I don't know why, but in my head immediately, the lyrics, I am your mother.
And please tell me, how many times have I watched these episodes? Like, how many times? And I just never clocked this until I was watching it to take notes. Because we talked about how there's so, like, they only had Ray. They have a footman.
Yes.
Like, there's a footman who opens the door, and it's like, I'm like, where did he come from? Like,
Well,
I really.
he said, I have to let the staff in. And I did presume that there was staff from Bridgerton house, but I also did presume that they had more than just a housekeeper.
Well, and technically, he would have gotten his own valet, but this guy's acting as a footman.
Violet knows Colin is a hungry boy. She's like, you need a chef. Please take one.
Well, they have a cook. They have a cook for sure. He would have a valet, which we never see. But he's traveled so much and had to dress himself that I don't think, because his grand tours were not like everybody else's, where they took their manservant with them and they were part of a group. He went by himself.
He didn't have a guide.
Yeah, so he might choose not to have a valet, but we definitely see I just was sitting there writing my notes. Like, I distinctly remember having this conversation about them having a small staff, but like, I wasn't thinking about footmen, and here's a footman right here.
You know what I think it is? Colin would never ever accept these things for himself, but he's like, my wife deserves the world, so I will request for them.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 10 other servants we haven't seen in that house somewhere. Like, Penelope will want for nothing.
Yes, my wife will not be doing her own hair.
So as Cressida turns around to "Good morning, Mama," I just want to point out here.
It's like she knew this line was gonna dig hard. What a mean line to start with. I trust you had. And might I say, props to Araminta Cowper, because for as much crap as we have given you in the past, you have clearly educated your daughter on her wedding night.
On what a wedding entails physically. Yes. Because she was very scared of Lord Greer when he said he wanted 5 kids.
Yes.
And then the way she sneered up and down at Penelope when she said, I trust you enjoyed your wedding night.
It's like that girl's hair is way too put together to have had a good wedding night.
Well, and I kind of took it as, well, there's a couple things. Because one, I want to point out that Cressida is in pink, but it's not full on pink again. It's got dusky, shadowy tones to the fabric. So it's pink and black again. So we know that she's scared or not truly feeling 100% happy. So she's going to be extra snarky. But I think the dig...
She's in defense mode.
I think it's more defensive coming from a jealous place, because Penelope got married before her. Penelope walks in her nightgown. Her hair is down. It's not designed, like it's not in a updo design.
It's not styled.
This is one of my favorite hairstyles of Cressida's in this scene, by the way. But she takes note of Penelope's nightgown and her state of undress when she has a guest, and assuming that Ray would have said who was there, which she now knows she thought it was her mama, but Cressida's thinking, she's taunting me. She's walking in her nightgown to taunt me. Yeah,
she's in her honeymoon era.
Like, I think that Cressida felt that Penelope was being a mean girl by walking in her nightgown with her hair down and, whatever. So she made that snide comment.
Yes, but I mean, like, not that she knew how much of a low blow it was, but I'm like, dig the knife in further.
I just think she was being defensive, but it's squirting lemon on a wound. She didn't realize it.
She rubbed that salt right in. And then wasn't lemon, it was vodka, and then she lit that vodka on fire.
And then I just want to point out, in this drawing room, we don't have like the deep blue like we had in their sitting room. This is a teal, a lot like the blanket. And the uniforms, Footman and Ray's uniform, are both teal. So the house colors chosen for the Mr. and Mrs. Bridgerton house is a mix of blue and green that makes teal. I love that.
He's like, we're hyphenating our names.
Yeah, they're hyphenated for sure. But Penelope at first looks surprised and then perturbed at the audacity of Cressida to come to her house. Like, she is just like, what are you doing here?
I am simply paying a visit to the esteemed Lady Whistledown. Music turns ominous.
Dun,
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 dun.
dun. Wait. Or Ezra's like, every time he wants to pretend by me, he's like, dun, 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 dun. And if you say to Ezra, what sound does a sharky make? It goes, dun, 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 dun.
That's funny.
I think I've actually taught my child. I think he legitimately thinks it's the sound that a shark makes now.
No. Speaking of funny things kids say, although my son is 23, he was visiting me late last week, and I have supplements, and I have 2 supplements right now that are capsules, and they come in a bag that's kind of like a Ziploc bag, but the packaging, like this is my D3K2, right? Like it looks like a tall, like almost like a candy package, because he went looking in it like it was candy, and they're gel caps, like gel tabs, like they just, little gel. He called them my vitamin jelly beans.
Num, num,
He's
num.
like,
Have you taken
you
your
got
jellies?
jelly beans? I was like, no, those are my supplements. So he's like, he started calling them vitamin jelly beans. So now that's what I'm calling them, vitamin jelly beans. But I found my notes for Cressida's hair. So what I love about Cressida's hair here is that much like other hairdos she's had, because she's kind of two-faced, right? Like she'll be kind to your face, but snarky at the same time. So she almost always has 2 things going on with her hair. In one part, it's woven. And then in another part, it's twisted. So it's to me, it's indicative of her trying to plan her escape. And there's twists and turns, and like the woven parts are the things that she feels like, she has parts of her plan that she feels like are going right or going to go right. The best laid plans, like
twisting, and she's trying to create a new pattern.
Yeah. So I love how the hair is mimicking her state of mind. Like some of it is laid really nice, woven, plaited, like, and then there's parts that are just twisted, like she's got to unravel this mess she got herself into.
I wish they had made it almost like styled it to be like a spider's web.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm still looking for,
trying to find a way out.
Like there was a hairdo that her hair designer did on TikTok that I may have missed the scene. Like I've been wanting to find what scene that's in, because I know it's going to play into the scene and I haven't seen it. But we also know now that there are a couple of Cressida scenes that didn't make it. So, but I just want to point out here, Nicola Coughlan is also really good at micro expressions and having a quick expression that plays into something else. Because when Cressida says, "I'm here to visit the esteemed Lady Whistledown," you can see the look of disbelief on Penelope's face at first.
She has zero poker face.
And then she corrects herself and she tries to deny it. She's like, whatever it is you think you know, it is incorrect.
Well, and I was thinking back to the book, right? Comparing it to the book. And I think that the reason they changed it from the book is because they made the TV version of Penelope a lot more scared and anxious than book Penelope was. Like, book Penelope was very timid, don't get me wrong. But she had a lot of thoughts in her head that were not snarky per se, but a bit more biting. Whereas TV Penelope definitely suffers from anxiety disorder, or whatever we called it. Anxiety,
like
temperament.
Anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. And because like think about the way that the whole Lady Whistledown thing played out. Obviously, she was 8 years deep into writing Lady Whistledown. The entire ton was like hunting her down.
12. Yeah.
Yeah, like sorry, yeah, in the book, like like everyone was hunting her down. Everyone was questioning everyone. Like if they had done the TV version of her, because she's got no poker face, I don't think she would have lasted long in the book setting if they had that personality, because her face just shows all of her anxiety right there.
Right. What I love about this line, again, because scripting words matter, she says, whatever it is you think you know, it is incorrect. I think she's really, she's trying to pull a Violet / Colin here, where, Colin doesn't want to lie. So he says things in a way where he's kind of telling the truth, but he's not giving away information. And I think Penelope's trying to do that here. Like, whatever it is you think you know, you're incorrect. And making it such a blanket statement that it can have some truth to it.
Before we even get to that line, we have the previous one. Thinking back on everything, it makes perfect sense. No one would ever suspect you, as you are so very forgettable. And it's like, well, not that forgettable if I got the guy. But I think that is definitely,
that's part of her defensiveness.
That's Cressida's defensive mechanism, that she thought that Penelope, You know what I equate this to? When you date a guy that you know is not up to your standards because you're like, okay, well, if I date him, then he'll think the world, like the sun's shining down on me, right? You know, I'm
Mhm.
amazing. And then when they leave you, you're like, oh my God. Like, and it makes you question your self worth. And I think that's what she's doing here. She's like, Penelope is so forgettable. How did she get the guy? And I'm being offered Lord Greer. And I think that this is her self defense of like, she is having a humongous self-esteem crisis right now.
Yes, because she's comparing herself to Penelope, and all these years she believed herself better than Penelope
Yes.
in looks, in popularity, in stature, in status. But now, in the course of a few months, Penelope won Debling. Debling was going to propose to her until he wasn't. And Cressida
Yes.
couldn't even get second skimmings. She tried. She
Yes.
tried to be his fallback lady, and he was like, nope, I'm gonna go be with the Great Auk now. And then she ends up with Colin, and where I'm sure not just her sisters speculated that that was an entrapment, for it to be so obvious that Colin loves her. And I think walking into this house and seeing Penelope in her night clothes, realizing this is a
Mhm.
true marriage. Like the night clothes, even though we know Penelope and Colin did not sleep together, Cressida's assuming they did and going, this is not a marriage of convenience. This is not an entrapment where, like, once you are pregnant, which an entrapment, you assume, like, the whole assumption is, hey, we did this, so I must be pregnant. I don't think Cressida expected them to be that, Colin to be that attracted to Penelope that they would have an immediate wedding night. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so she's very much comparing herself, like, how am I here and you're there? Like she wants to trade places
Which is
and
sort
she's
of
going
crazy
to
because
she's
in
going
that
to demean
time,
Penn as much as she
you
can.
legally were not married until you consummated the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
which is wild. And then she says, that look is enjoyable. Shame I cannot stay long enough to savor it, seeing as I am under lock and key until my aunt arrives to steal me to the countryside. Now, this is the one time that I feel like we actually do see that vulnerable side of Cressida where she is kind of sharing a little bit of how scared she is. Like, it was almost like a pity me, like this is the situation I'm in, and it was almost a I know I'm doing something awful, but I'm giving you my redeeming reason why.
Yeah, and I think it's also a fact that because she cannot
Got
imagine
no one to
them,
talk to.
she can't imagine them being in the positions that they are, that she is revealing things that she probably wouldn't normally speak out loud. But it's like, you know, like, why are you in the place you are when you're so forgettable? And here I am about to be banished to the country. It's kind of like she's thinking out loud.
Yeah,
Technically, she's giving Whistledown
gossip.
ammo,
Yeah.
potentially,
I
but
I see it as she is so lonely and has no one to talk to that she's although she's there to literally attack this woman, that she's also using it to kind of share her vulnerability because she has no one to talk to about it. I also wonder whether she was hoping
what
that
if she
Penelope
was
would secretly go.
offer
I
the
was
money?
wondering whether no, I was wondering whether she was secretly hoping that Penelope would confide in Eloise and it would be enough to encourage Eloise to fix the rift between them and like go and try to come up with a plan to save her.
Maybe, but remember that when she found out about Whistledown, she was going from printer to printer trying to get the Whistledown money from the Cowper house. She didn't know which printer they used. She also knows that Penelope also published the same time. So I think possibly the original reason she showed up and she was trying to have the upper hand, and this was all armor, right? It's armor.
Hmm.
She's trying to ask Penelope or trying to play into Penelope's kindness, because if Penelope went and collected her own money, the printers may not know there was two separate Whistledowns at the time, might have given her the money, and in the hopes that Penelope would give up that money to her because she feels sorry for her. And when Penelope is, you know, like, whatever, you know, you're incorrect, whatever, and
Hmm.
isn't falling for her business, then she switches modes and decides she's going to blackmail her. Like, I maybe
Yes.
blackmail was the final, like, the last plan, you know what I mean, like plan C.
Yes. She says, so you are leaving town. Yes, but not to my Aunt Joanna's house. You see, You are going to pay me double the queen's reward so that I might set up my life abroad. Or I will tell everyone of your true identity. No one will believe you, Cressida. Your reputation could not be any lower at present. I do think that this is truly book Cressida coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
As Ray, announces Lady Featherington. Oh, now we're announcing who's here. Thank you, Ray.
She learned her lesson.
Penelope and I were just discussing whether or not I am to be believed. Let us find out. And I mean, she really did choose the perfect person to drop all this on, because I think even Cressida remembers how badly the Featheringtons have been discussed in Lady Whistledown. Think of your daughter's love of the written word. I feel like the second that she said that line, Portia knew what was coming.
Yep.
And think of how much she is so easily overlooked, allowing her to disappear for great periods of time, and think of all those she views as enemies. I mean, I don't think that Portia would
This
ever
is the
look at her
line that
daughter,
I don't agree.
end up humiliated in print, but I don't think Portia's ever looked at Penelope and is like, she has so many enemies or she has so many people that dislike her. I think most people just don't actually remember her. I think the only enemy that she is speaking of, ironically, is the Featheringtons and Cressida.
Mm-hmm. And Marina, because we know Marina and Colin were together. So I think Cressida is including Marina, but that's Featherington adjacent.
Yourself, and this was a mean dig. And then ask yourself how it took you this long to realize she is the true Lady Whistledown. So you will pay me my sum, or I will reveal the truth to the entire ton. Do enjoy your mornings, your morning, ladies. Now, I do want to save our reaction, Portia's reaction, for the next episode, because I think that we have a lot to unpack in their relationship and the entire breakdown of that conversation. It's way too much to get through in 15, odd minutes. And we are going to try and cap our episodes at the moment, because as you can see, my nausea is starting to bubble up quite. Yep. Talking definitely brings it up a bit more, and I'm starting to hit struggle down. But we've got so much to unpack. Like the way that she broke down, look at how invisible she is. Look at, all the people that she's viewed as enemies over the years. She's actually not just blindly accusing Penelope. She is realizing how exactly she fits as Lady Whistledown. Like, there is no doubt in her mind that it could be anyone else now.
Well, and I think this plays into Cressida's hand, that it is Penelope's mother, someone who knows her very well. Mm-hmm. I think, though, that if she did try to announce it to the ton, I agree with Penelope still that no one would believe her, because Penelope isn't someone that's well known, right? Penelope is at parties and then isn't at parties. I don't think anybody's held a conversation with her long enough. And even the people who are mean like Cressida, like the Lord Squad, because she never mentions them, she didn't mention a single person in the Lord Squad until...
Especially when she had the ammunition of the closet situation.
Right. She mentioned Lord Cho only when he was betrothed to Miss Kenworthy.
Was it a positive light? Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then she mentioned the Lord in season 4 who had the mistress. But up until that point, like, she didn't really talk about the Lord Squad that malicious
at all with them, though, because, like, I mean, if she were to really go after her enemies, realistically, Lady Cowper, Lady Stowell, no, not Stowell was also mean, Lady Livingston, like all of those really, really
Stowell wasn't mean. She was deaf. She just, there was a communication barrier.
It was
Livingston. Malhotra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Livingston, Malhotra, and Lady Cowper that were the biggest instigators of the cruelty. Keswick. Yes.
Yeah.
With the sneering daughters. But Penelope really didn't use her column to spite down those who had talked badly upon her. She was just reporting what she had seen
and heard. Yep.
But
so I don't think,
short of Marina, that's the only time that I will say that she was truly vindictive, because she also went after the Featherington family so hard, like making sure that the Ton also painted the Featheringtons with the same brush that they did Marina.
Well, and in the entire 3 years at this point, the only time she ever mentioned Cressida was talking about her dress, and that was to promote Genevieve, because the Cowpers had gone to that other dressmaker. So it wasn't even necessarily whether she believed it or not. She just needed a fall guy to bring business back to Genevieve's shop, right? That's the only time she even ever mentioned Cressida. But Cressida is so insecure herself that having her looks come into question is enough. It's the same as, I mean, she probably views it the same as Marina being outed for being pregnant, being with child, because she is so sensitive and so defensive and takes such stock in her looks because her mother does. But I think this was the perfect plan for her. This is why she came to Penelope instead of going to the queen. She still technically could have gotten the $5,000. She could have reported to the queen, I know who Whistledown is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to take it from her because we are rivals, right? She could have had a whole story where she could have gone to the queen. However, because of her reputation, the queen would not believe her, and she knew that. People in the ton would not believe her, and she knew that. That is the only reason she is in Penelope's house. And she knows
Yes.
she can convince Portia because Portia knows Penelope as her mother. This was her only way of this working.
Yes. And I think that she also knows that, like, she has to play it incredibly carefully in order to be able to get this money.
Mm-hmm.
I do, the next portion of in which we will go through in the next episode, there is so much to unpack between Penelope and Portia's relationship, and I think it needs to be its own thing because, like, Portia is unpacking her entire relationship that, I mean, a little bit like what Colin was going through, where she thought she
Mm-hmm.
knew her daughter, and now she is more like her than she ever knew. And there is a lot to unpack with that, as well as the way that she is kind of treated, specifically Prudence in the past, and why her attention shifts, but also the way that she treats the daughters going forward from now also shifts. Is there anything else you
I
want to
agree.
finish up?
Nope, I agree. I think this is a good stopping point. Cressida swishes out of the room, like literally swishes
Swish,
out of
swish,
the room.
swish, swish.
Have a good morning, ladies, and swish swish out of the room. Like she thinks that Penelope's gonna go stroke a check and bring her money like in 5 minutes. Not the case. Sorry, Chris.
Pull out 10,000 gold out of the floorboards.
Like, hold on, my money is still at my old house. My bad.
Yeah. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please find the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen.
And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women and a itty bitty peanut.
An itty bitty peanut. Well, it's not a peanut anymore. It's the size of a tulip, not including legs,
It's a
apparently.
she's a peanut until
7.4
she's born
centimeters.
now.
7.4. Don't know why they don't include legs.
She's all legs now. 7.4 centimeters and then 2 feet of legs. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. Yours truly, Tash the very sick Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.